to the public presentation of the Nigerian Reputation Management Group. This is certainly something that has been long awaited. Someone said, do nothing and everything remains the same. Do something, not consistently, it still remains the same. But do something good consistently and you will see the change coming. This represents what the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, NIPR, has brought together the Nigerian Reputation Management Group.
Right. Yes. Indeed, at a time like this, there's a whole lot of reflection. First Republic member of the Western House of Assembly said over 60 years ago that integrity is orphaned and fast becoming an outcast in our political milieu and may not even recognize its relevance to public life and society. It is still a true story today, over 6 decades, and that is about to change. We gather here today to launch the Public Relations Institute's Reputation Index, a groundbreaking initiative designed to promote transparency, accountability, and ethical excellence in political ecosystem and therefore in the larger society which we all represent here. In an era where trust and credibility are paramount, the Reputation Index serves as a vital tool for measuring and enhancing reputation, if not only public relations practices, it's not just that, but also our larger society. This whole comprehensive index will provide a benchmark for organizations to assess their commitment to ethical communication, transparency, and responsible advocacy, and hold office holders accountable for their social contract to the electorate and taxpayers who truly are their paymasters. Today marks a significant milestone in our collective pursuit of excellence and integrity. Great Nigerians here present, please join us as we unveil the Reputation Index and embark on a journey to elevate the standards of our country, profession, foster public trust, and celebrate best practices in public and private arena. Welcome to the historic launch of the Public Relations Institute's Reputation. For us, reputation first.
Thank you very much. And with this, we'll quickly inform you that we have a full house as we begin. Let me first recognize the chief hosts of this occasion. He's a man who himself understands reputation and serves as the chief reputation servant in Nigeria. Please, a round of applause for the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Alhaji Muhammad Idris, FNIPR. You will do that round of applause again. Also here is the man that we believe is our chief spokesperson globally. He is the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, himself an excellency of excellencies. Ambassador Yusuf M. Tuga, OON, is here with us. Let me inform you that the chairman of this occasion is the man whose name should have been John Reputation, but is a John Momo that's reputation stands before and after. The chairman of Channels Media Group, a distinguished gentleman par excellence, Dr. John Momo, OON, is the chairman of the occasion. We also recognize here with us the man who's given NIPR a new face and a new dawn. He is the president we call the People's President. The president and chairman of council of the NIPR, Dr. Ike Neliako, is here with us. Seated next to him is the very distinguished Senator of the Federal Republic. He is also in his rights a People's Senator. Distinguished Senator Osita Izunaso is here with us. Let me also quickly recognize a very distinguished man who serves as the Director General of the Nigeria Reputation Management Group. He is a fellow of the NIPR. Very distinguished persons who also represent various organizations. And we recognize, most importantly, the great Nigerians who have found time to be here despite their very tight and busy schedule. And I'm talking about people that you would assume should have retired. But these are people who love country and stand by country always. A former Minister of Information, former gentleman par excellence and continues to be, always ever young, former Minister Frank Nweke Jr., I hate to put the junior because he's now much older, is here with us. In the same light, another great Nigerian who is here with us, former President of MAN, is Dr. Ahmed Mansour, very, very distinguished Nigerian, is also here with us. Please a round of applause for him. We are also glad to have our father, the father of information in Nigeria, a professor of professors. If you combine his name, you'll find out it's almost the same figure and number as reputation. Professor Jerry Ghana is here with us. Let me also recognize here with us the NUJ president, very, very distinguished man par excellence, who has consistently shown that the NUJ is not just about any paper, brown or white, but about doing it right. He's here. Comrade Chris Isiguzo is here with us. We also want to very quickly recognize here with us lords, spiritual and temporal, captains of industry dotted in parts of this room. It may be difficult, and you will permit me, for the sake of reputation, not to begin to call the names one after the other, but we do recognize very, very distinguished persons seated here from different organizations, captains of industries, very distinguished Nigerians in their own rights, dotted in parts of this room. Please a round of applause for them. And this includes council members, fellows of the NIPR, members of the NIPR, associates of the NIPR. We also are glad to have here with us Dr. Lekon Fadolapo, the DG Advertising Regulations Council of Nigeria. He's here with us. Thank you very much, Director General, for being here. And we also have with us here the Director General of the News Agency of Nigeria. I'm told he's somewhere in the room. Please a round of applause for him. I'm trying to locate where he's seated, but he's somewhere around, I'm told. We recognize you, sir. We also recognize at this point the future of Nigeria. The people on whose shoulders the change we so talk about rests upon. They are represented here as core members of the NYSC. And you will notice they are on the right, on the left, at the middle, and at the top. They represent the future. And they are the people who will bring that great change we expect. Please a round of applause for our very distinguished core members in the room. Comrade Mohammed Arino Ibrahim, President, Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, is also here, and we're glad to have him here. Please a round of applause for him. We're also glad to have some distinguished personalities joining us online. I want to recognize the President, Institute of Public Relations, Ghana, Mrs. Esther Koba. A round of applause. President, Zambia Institute of Public Relations and Communication, Mrs. Irene Chungi. A round of applause. The President, APRA, Africa Public Relations Association, Mr. Ari Karami, also joining us online. A round of applause. We're also glad to have Mr. Max Beher, President, World Communication Forum, Davos, online with us. A round of applause for him. We recognize the National President of NAWOJ, Hajia Aisha Ibrahim, here with us. Please, a round of applause for her. Also, we recognize the Director General, Miriam Babangida, National Women Development Center, Honorable Dr. Asabe Bashir, represented by Alhaji Abdul Bankola, is here with us. Please, a round of applause for him. And the list is indeed endless, but if you notice in the room, a major advocate of the people we call friends, or some of you say they are persons with disability, but I found out that they have so much ability in disability. A champion in that regard, a fellow of the NIPR, Mr. J. Kepele, is also here with us. Please, a round of applause for him. We'll now move on in the program as I hand over to Chief Mrs. Moji Makojola.
Thank you very much, Tokwe. Everyone here is welcome and represented, and it's a national issue. But I'd like to give special recognition before we continue to members of the National Council of Women Societies that are here representing Nigerian women and all women organizations in the country. A round of applause for the women. Thank you. Yes, we're here today. The opening statement, right, before we have the opening statement.
Yes, before the opening statement, we'll be taking a look at a documentary. But let me also quickly recognize here with us the Society of Peace Studies and Principle, SPSP. They're here, ably represented by the President, SPSP, Mr. Nathaniel Awudela, Fellow of the SPSC, is here with us. A round of applause for him. And he's here with 3 or 4 other members, I'm told, of this organization. Thank you very much for being here. We'll begin by setting the tone, and this documentary gives you an idea of what today is all about. Take a look. Happy listening.
Evolving rapidly, with increasing global integration driving the need for a reputation reawakening across the continent. Skilled professionals in public relations and leadership are urging governments throughout Africa to take a more active role in managing their reputations. Nowhere is this more urgent than in Nigeria, where the gap in reputation management compared to global standards have become a pressing issue.
I believe it is important that we also remember the ministry's core mandate, which is to lead the management of the image and reputation of the people and government of Nigeria through a professional and dynamic public information system that facilitates access and feedback by citizens and the global community.
The Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, NIPR, is stepping up to bridge these gaps, championing the cause for a national reputation rebirth.
Reputation is a core asset, an asset that you can trade with, an asset that brings respect to you, an asset that carries immense value. It's a capital that must be taken seriously. Wherever you go, your reputation speaks for you. Even before you get there, people say that your reputation precedes you.
Nigeria's rich cultural heritage, vibrant business ecosystem, and growing international presence all highlights the urgent need for a reputation renaissance.
I am calling on all Nigerians to join hands with the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations to drive this reputation renaissance for our nation. We are initiating the Nigeria Reputation Management Group as a platform to consciously and deliberately drive the process of reinventing our reputation.
The NIPR is leading the charge for the transformation, unveiling an ambitious campaign to reshape Nigeria's image, and the time to act is now. On October 15, 2024, Nigeria will celebrate its first ever Reputation Day, a moment for the nation to unite and champion its collective identity on the global stage. This isn't just an event. It is a call to action, a moment to reclaim Nigeria's place in the world, built on the strength of its people, its culture, and its resources.
On this, we are calling on all Nigerians to support the NIPR to establish the 15th of October every year as Nigeria Reputation Day.
Join us for this moment. Let's rebuild, reimagine, recreate, and redefine Nigeria's reputation together on October 15, 2024.
Reputation Day. Nigeria's time is now.
And that time
Africa's
clearly
business landscape
is now. If you want to clap, please do it very well. If you are Nigerian and you know the importance of reputation, another round of applause. And of course, hearing directly gives you an overview of why we're here. Let me, before we continue, quickly recognize the immediate past spokesperson of the Nigerian Air Force, representing the Chief of Air Staff, very distinguished Air Vice Marshal Edward Gambwet is here with us. And we're also glad to have the Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Press Council, Dr. Dili Ezuga, here with us. We recognize, like I've mentioned earlier, captains of industry and very distinguished Nigerians who are here. At this juncture, it will be very appropriate to now hear from the People's President, the President and Chairman of Council, who is supported today by Council members from the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT, supported also by members of the NIPR all over the world who are either here or online, and particularly those who have joined on the diaspora, Nigerians who believe that reputation is first. Please help me welcome the President and Chairman of Council, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Dr. Ike Neliaku, for opening statements. Mr. President.
Thank you very much, my boss, the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation. Our special guest of honor, His Excellency Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, Chairman of the day, our own Dr. John Reputation Momo. I didn't say so. That's the name that has just been given to him. Other elders, former ministers, my brother, fellow of the Institute by anointing and by declaration, distinguished Senator Osita Izunaso. We appreciate you. In the southeast, we call him Bakbando, which means he's a shining star. We welcome all of you. Please permit me to continue, having recognized all our distinguished guests earlier. I bring you profound greetings from the Governing Council and members of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. I sincerely appreciate everyone gathered in this rotunda today, physically and online. A lot of our people are online, and I want to acknowledge them. Nkechi Ale Balogu and others, we sincerely appreciate all of you who have joined us online. In particular, I want to thank our chief host and supervising minister for all that he has been doing, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, for guiding, encouraging, counseling, supporting, and giving all the advice to the Institute in an exceptional way. As a world-class consummate public relations practitioner, Minister Idris has skillfully managed his portfolio with immense decorum, immense honor, immense dignity, immense professionalism, and a sense of excellence. We are very proud of your performance, Honorable Minister. I must admit that the Institute raised you well because you are our fellow. We groomed you well and we are showing it. I'm not the one saying, I'm speaking the mind of Chief Mike Okereke, who claimed that they were the ones that raised you in the 30s. May I also thank you especially for the wisdom in relating well with your predecessors, hence having some of them with us this morning. This is what leadership is. You recognize those who started the journey, and Minister Idris has done that very well. That's why today we have Professor Ghana, we have Lai Mohammed, who is just walking in, and we have Frank Mweke Jr., and Chukwemeka Chikel will be joining us shortly. This is what leadership is. And Minister Idris, we appreciate you, sir. We deeply also appreciate the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, a gentleman par excellence, His Excellency, Ambassador Yusuf Maitama Tuga, OON, for quickly understanding the vision and the mission of this project and keying into it. You not only accepted to be our special guest of honor, your ministry is also supporting the initiative beginning from the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Ahmed, and other line officers who helped to facilitate for us to use the rotunda. We consider this venue the most suitable for this event, given the role of Ministry of Foreign Affairs in creating, building, nurturing, managing the reputation of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, invited guests, we are here to unveil what will become Nigeria's biggest possible transformation pillar and driver, the Reputation Project. Reputation is a core asset of inestimable value, be it to a nation, an organization, or even an individual. This explains why Publius Syrus, the great Roman writer, exclaimed over 2,000 years ago that a reputation is more valuable than money. Reputation is more valuable than money. Show me a man that has reputation, I will show you his assets. And that's why it's very important. As important as reputation is, it is not easily attained. It comes with a lot of hard work, careful design, deep foresight, skillful planning, and strategic implementation of well-orchestrated plans and actions. Reputation takes a long journey. Most times, it is like a relay race, highly delicate and easily perishable. While it takes a long time to build, it takes a short time to be damaged. It takes a short time to damage. And that's why Warren Buffett reveals from his experience that it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about it, you will do things differently. Ladies and gentlemen, the reputation of our country needs some help. As Minister Idris acknowledged in the documentary we watched, the reputation and image of Nigeria need conscious, deliberate attention. Today's event is NIPR's robust response to the call. We have the biggest body of knowledge in Africa. NIPR is well positioned and ready to deal on this matter. The point needs also to be made that like a living thing, reputation is birthed. Reputation needs air to survive. Reputation is nurtured with the right character. When reputation is created and built as an asset, it is consciously managed and effectively sustained. According to LinkedIn's Library of Political Diplomacy, in evaluating a nation's reputation, 5 main things are required. 1, it talked about culture. Number 2, governance. Number 3, economy. Number 4, society. And number 5, environment. Excellencies, distinguished guests, while recognizing our challenges in some areas, we cannot deny that Nigeria has good components of these 5 elements to create a reputation renaissance. At this particular point in time, it is no longer news to say that we must do things differently. Yes, but let's also appreciate what we have. We have a solid culture. We have a good people that make up our society. We have solid environment. Yes, we have issue with our governance and our economy, but that is 3/5, which means what we have in the main is what we have in the minors. Therefore, we are doing this. We believe that we are in a position to help to change this narrative. While recognizing our challenges, like I said, in this area, we don't have to go the route of Warren Buffett's 20 years timeline because we have things that we can show. This is why we are here today to formally unveil a professional, private sector-led platform that will partner with relevant agencies of government and the private sector to harvest, harness, recreate, and manage our reputation capital as one of the biggest and most valued assets of Nigeria. In this room today, we have the 3 important sides to represent the core trajectories of this reputation project. Reputation is said to be first from within. Igbos say that beauty springs forth from within. And that's why we have in this room the Minister of Information himself, the man that is the reputation driver of federal government in Nigeria. And then, on the other side, we have his counterpart, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is in charge of external or foreign reputation asset, as the case may be. But there is another component, perhaps even more potent and serious. Research has shown that private sector entities have contributed so much in promoting and enhancing the reputation capital of Nigeria over the years, be it in the academia, technology, entertainment, sports, banking, finance, fashion, and even culinary arts. Nigerians and Nigerian companies have excelled, in some cases become the main reason that Nigeria is represented. My point is very clear. The private sector plays a key role in driving the reputation of any nation, Nigeria inclusive. Therefore, this explains our choice of a private sector leader to chair this event and work with us on this mission. Our choice was deliberate in choosing a highly respected, charismatic, influential, decent, credible, successful, and unassuming Dr. John Reputation Momo to chair this very important event. We also have in this room another engineer, Mansour Reputation Ahmed, who is a fellow of the Institute, former Director General, Nigeria Economic Summit Group, and immediate past president, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. We celebrate you all. There are other leaders who are here. Ladies and gentlemen, the baby we are unveiling today started in August 2022, actually 2021, when we convened the Citizen Summit for National Integration, Peace, and Security, which I had the privilege to chair as the chairman of the National Planning Committee. The summit recommended that the NIPR should partner with other relevant organizations to create a body corporate whose sole responsibility shall be to manage the reputation of Nigeria, to be known as Nigeria Reputation Management Group. In October 2023, the NIPR Governing Council constituted a committee charged with the responsibility to give us the structure and the character of this group. That committee is led by the Controller General of Customs, Wale Adeni, himself a fellow of the Institute, and Chief Yomi Badejo Okusonya, a fellow of the Institute. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the committee has done its work and now gives us this baby for us to run with. The implication is that I am delighted that henceforth, the reputation platform of Nigeria, our reputation gate, will no longer go unmanned. We saw that demonstrated yesterday. Minister Tuga, I want to congratulate you for showing leadership with your counterpart in sports in managing what would have been a reputation damage against us. You rose to the occasion and made sure that Nigerians were not humiliated. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the statement of the President of Nigeria, even on vacation. He caused to be issued so that Nigeria anywhere shall be respected and promoted, whatever the situation. That is how reputation is built, so that people will know that you care for them, and that wherever they are, so long as they are doing the right thing, their nation will stand up for them. The Nigeria Reputation Management Group platform is designed to be very inclusive. And I am pleased to note that the NIPR Young Practitioners Hub has already initiated the Strive campaign, using online and offline activities to boost Nigeria's reputation. Strive is a peer review campaign calling attention to citizens to stop, think, review, investigate, value, and educate before you post anything on Nigeria online. Strive to look at it. As we unveil this high-profile vehicle for Nigeria's reputation renaissance, may I quickly use this opportunity to draw attention that the NRMG, we need a befitting operational base, which we wish to be called Nigeria Reputation House. We need a house where this whole project will be located. And I wish to appeal to the Honorable Minister to look into this with his brother and Minister of Foreign Affairs. We have some ideas that we are going to share. As I conclude, may I reiterate that NRMG is conceived as a professional, private sector-led complementary solution. It's complementary to what government and what private sector and civil society, what they are all doing, aimed at strengthening and repositioning Nigeria's reputation capital as a core national asset for stronger domestic relevance and global competitiveness. May I, at this point, acknowledge with gratitude our media partners who have been working closely with the NIPR in this and other vital projects. We deeply appreciate the Nigerian Television Authority, DAG Communications PLC, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Voice of Nigeria, and Channels Television. The first four approved a syndicated TV radio program on national reputation at no cost to be named Reputation First. That means very soon this will be unveiled where we discuss the issue of reputation. These organizations have given this as their support at no cost because it is not income originating or generating. It is just for us to be part of this process we want to draw. We also appreciate the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, Guild of Corporate Online Publishers, the Albino Foundation, National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, Mesotho Group, and so many others for all your support. I wish to close on a lighter note by paying special respect to two people that are very important to me here. One trained me, the other is still training me. I plead with you, if I have spoken well, please give the credit to the one that trained me, Professor Jerry. Reputation, Ghana. But if I have not spoken well, please hold the one that is still training me. And that is my boss, Minister Mohammed Idris. Ike Neliako is my name, and I am boldly public relations. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Wow. What else? He made it happen. And, like we'd always say, very apt, on the spot. He still says he's a learner and the one who has been the emotional cushion to help this student to learn and be able to bring forth the best in him. I would like to recognize, we call her First Lady of NIPR. She's here, keeping the home front herself, a member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Mrs. Neliako. That applause is not good enough. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Yes, the foundation has been laid. We understand some people are lucky. They have reputation in their middle name. I don't know if Tokwe will remember to address me as such. But the president calls me Mama Reputation, so for me that is just good enough. So we're moving on in the true spirit of reputation. And one man that earned the name first this morning is one that I'm so proud of. Everywhere he goes, reputation goes with him. And for him to have been made the chairman of today's occasion is to bring reputation as a national asset. When your perception, people's perception about you, about your reputation, goes a long way to sell you. And this has sold panels. And that's why, and still selling. And that's why today it's my privilege, my honor, to bring forth to the microphone a former schooled NTA. I must bring that to bear. We have to put history in perspective. So all the NTAs, let's put our hands together for former John Momo, now Channels, chairman of today's occasion.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, I hope this reputation of my little device will hold. Let's see. It's supposed to. Here we are.
Put it on 3 or 4. It's here, it's there.
Well, thank you very much indeed, and it's always good to make reference to the Nigerian Television Authority, where I cut my teeth in broadcasting. You know, when you spoke about the largest network in Africa, I didn't want to contest that. because being a product, I also share in that accolade. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, esteemed colleagues, it's a great honor to chair the launch of this laudable initiative, the Reputation Management Group, at a time when our nation's image, both at home and abroad, is in dire need of restoration. I would like to begin by applauding and commending the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, led by the very distinguished Dr. Nleaku, for its foresight and dedication in launching this timely and necessary initiative. Today we come together to address an issue that affects not just how the world sees us, but how we view ourselves as a nation. Nigeria's reputation, again I repeat, needs a radical transformation. And I'm not referring to our standing on international rankings. Instead, I'm talking about the reputation that is built on the integrity of our institutions, the transparency of our leadership, and the well-being of our people. Sadly, when government is perceived as an avenue for personal gain, the results are felt deeply by all. Corruption and self-interest erode our public services, leaving schools underfunded, our healthcare in decline, and infrastructure neglected. Invariably, this widens the gap between the privileged few and the majority who struggle for basic necessities. That's where we are today as a nation. The people are hungry. The poor are hungry. The government is doing a lot, but there's been a lot of rot over the decades. So much so that no matter how much effort they put in, it's like a drop in the ocean. Not that kind of a drop. But when they drop just like a dye that will color everything and make it perfect. Beyond our borders, these damages are standing on the global stage. We become less attractive to investors, less trusted by international partners, and our influence in world affairs somewhat diminishes. A nation marred by corruption cannot expect to thrive or command respect among other nations. So today I offer a charge. First, to our politicians and leaders. The mandate that you politicians hold is a sacred trust, not a personal opportunity for enrichment. You are the stewards of our nation's future, and the integrity of your leadership will determine whether we move forward or remain trapped in cycles of corruption and stagnation. It is time to shift the focus from self-interest to genuine service. from short-term gains to long-term prosperity for all. Ethical leadership must become the standard, not the exception. And to the citizens, particularly those who may have lost a sense of values and morality in these very trying times, I urge you to remember that the future of our country lies not only in the hands of our leaders, but in our own actions. We cannot demand integrity from others if we do not hold ourselves accountable. Corruption thrives when it is tolerated, and we must each play our part in upholding the principles of honesty and responsibility. The path to rebuilding our nation begins with every individual practicing the values that we want to see reflected in our own leadership. To the youth and our youth corpus, representing the youth here, the teeming young men and women who have grown disillusioned, who feel let down by leaders they once looked up to. I understand you. I understand your frustration. I hear you, I see you. Many of you feel that your hopes have been dashed by systems that have failed to deliver on their promises. You couldn't be more correct. But I want to remind you that change is never out of reach. You are the largest, most vibrant part of our population, and your energy, creativity, and passion are our greatest assets. Do not, repeat, do not give in to despair. Instead, channel your frustration into action. Hold your leaders accountable, but also be leaders you wish to see. Engage with the political process, demand transparency, and never lose sight of the fact that this country's future belongs to you. Let your voice be a voice and a force for good. Your talents, a tool for transformation. Our leaders of tomorrow are shaped by the values they embrace today. This NRMG, the National Reputation Management Group, is tasked with a great responsibility to restore faith in our nation's integrity, to rebuild trust among our people, and to repair our standing in the world. But we cannot do it alone. It requires the efforts of our leaders, our citizens, and especially our youths. For members of the Nigerian Reputation Management Group, let me emphasize the fact that a good reputation isn't achieved through slogans, for there will be many of them, but by the government putting the people first. It's only after the people have bought into the vision that you can begin to move forward and make some achievements. So, thank you. So let us leave here today with a renewed sense of purpose and responsibility for the work we are embarking upon. It isn't just about managing perceptions. It isn't about laying the foundation for a future that we can all, it is about laying the foundation for a future that we can all be proud of. A future of integrity, accountability, and shared prosperity. And there's no gainsaying the fact that this nation will rise up. It will be the Mecca for all the black race. Nigeria will be the epitome. It will be the example of a country that other countries would want to be. And that is coming very soon. So as we move forward in this initiative, let us pray. This country, or when we are within this country, and you call yourself not only a boldly, proudly Nigerian Institute of Public Relations Fellow, but a proudly Nigerian. Everyone will look up to you and salute you. I pray that tomorrow will be brighter for us all. Thank you.
Indeed, let's in unison say to the next person, say to yourself that Nigeria will be great. Nigeria will be greater. And that the purpose for which we are all gathered today will be the springboard to the greatness that we are capable of. Please, let's give him a rousing round of applause.
Certainly, a great country is made by its people. Americans made America. The Indians made India. The Chinese made China. And it will take Nigerians to make Nigeria great again. Let me at this point invite the immediate past president of APRA. By the way, the Secretary General of APRA is here. Dr. Ibieton is representing APRA here. Thank you very much for being here, sir. The immediate past president of APRA, that's African Public Relations Association, a distinguished fellow of the NIPR, a man who has a reputation for bow ties, and he joins a couple of others. I started using bow tie when I saw him first, and I knew I shouldn't use today because you can't do better than your boss. Please welcome Director General of the National Reputation Management Group, the Nigerian Reputation Management Group, Chief Yomi Badejo Okusoya.
I use both. Thank you very much, Chief Ojame himself. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on existing protocols. I think that's how it's said. A year ago, my tenure as the president of the African Public Relations Association came to an end. And I look forward to a very lovely retirement, having served in the position of Secretary General of that same organization before I became president. So I just thought that, from here on, I'd earned the right to be called some kind of a senior professional citizen, and I can relax. Unfortunately, I didn't factor one gentleman in the equation of my thoughts, and that gentleman is Dr. Ike Neliaku, who has refused to allow me to retire. First, he said, you know what, YBO, help us with the AGM and the conference, and then you can go and do whatever you want. So I said, yeah, just one activity, and we did it. And those of you who were in Abuja earlier on this year, you probably thought that, it went well. And somewhere along the line, you know what, why don't you and Mr. Wale Adeni just drive the Nigerian Reputation Management Group, lead the committee, and just do something. And we're here today. He's one person that doesn't give up, calls you at different hours of the day and possibly of the night. And I would like your permission to let him know that this assignment, after this one, can I go to retirement? Thank you very much. Now to the meat of why we're here. I'm supposed to speak on what the Nigeria Reputation Management Group is about. I speak on behalf of members of my committee. I see many of them in the front row, and I'm sure that before we leave here, they will be properly recognized. So I'm just standing as the leader of the group. This work was done by all of us, and all of us deserve. If there is any accolade, oh, have you lost? Okay, let's put that back. So, what is the Nigerian Reputation Management Group? The Nigerian Reputation Management Group. Can I have the presentation, please? Just roll the slide. Yeah, the next slide, please. Can you please, although you haven't told me, you want to do that yourself so that I don't mess it up? Okay, all right, I got it. Now, our philosophy at the Nigeria Reputation Management Group rests on that we believe that national reputation rests on loyalty to positive values as pillars of national identity. So what is the NRMG? The Nigerian Reputation Management Group is designed to propagate and project a positive national reputation, I beg your pardon, in order to promote our core values, principles, and beliefs as a people. The group will drive and sustain Nigeria's national identity in the public and private sector area as a value capital that is guided by global best practices in national reputation management. One of the things that you will notice, we started almost on time. I think we were about 6 minutes. But because one of the things that the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations stands for, and we, more importantly, as reputation managers, is that we must have respect for time. So, what's our mission? Our mission is to improve and sustain national transformation using strategic public relations to reshape perceptions locally and internationally. Our vision is to be Nigeria's leading management authority for fostering and maintaining a culture of integrity for national growth and reputation enhancement. The objective is to promote a positive image nationally and globally, and we want to use strategic communication and very
Please bear with us. We just hold on for a few minutes because we would like you to imbibe what this is about. So just in a few minutes, the alternative power source will come on, and then we can continue with this. Is on? Or maybe the source of power. The source of and then the next information is to unveil the logo, which is also crucial. It's a high point. Are you sure?
Yeah, it's coming back. It will come back.
Okay. Check. All right, please give us a minute to get the screen back up and running. One of the areas where, okay, it's up here, so I imagine it should come up here shortly. Can you please make sure it comes up? Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. I was at the point of sharing the NRMG objective, which is to promote Nigeria's positive image nationally and globally through strategic communications strategic communication, I beg your pardon, and proactive public relations engagement, and of course to protect Nigeria's reputation from negative local and international narratives. So what is the focus of the NRMG? We're going to have a couple of ideas, some of them initiatives or action points. Some of them have been shared here earlier on by the President. One, we will have reputation summits. I'm sure you know that, a lot of you know that at this point in time, the Nigeria Economic Summit is going on at the Transcorp Hotel. So while we're speaking on economy there,
you are distracting with your talking. You're distracting. Huh?
I'm told that he's not affected online, so maybe you can know because of time.
because I can't even, they can't, you know, the next thing is the logo of it, and we don't have.
No, when we get there, we still have a lot to present before we do the
Not much. Just about 4 or 5 slides.
You know, they are speaking slowly. So, because of time.
Okay. So, the focus of the Nigeria Reputation Management Group, 1A, we are going to have Reputation Summit. It's focused on the use of deliberate citizens engagement using reputation management summits and other means to address issues undermining our national reputation. And we want to propose realistic solutions to same.
B will be the Nigeria Reputation Day. We will collaborate with stakeholders to entrench, I beg your pardon, the 15th of October every year as the Nigeria Reputation Day. This shall be a day devoted to creating awareness about Nigeria's reputation and how to enhance it for the benefit of the nation. C, we will be having a reputation charter. We'll draw up and present one that will provide the guiding principles to help in the propagation of positive national reputation. D, we will periodically propose some national icons as reputation champions whose profile are to look up, others look up to in terms of reputation. And then E, we will have an annual reputation report and other reports and publications that will produce, that will track the national reputation indices, identify key challenges, and profile.
Distracting now. Then number F, we will have advisory. We will offer research-based advisory on reputation management from time to time for the transmission to federal, state, and local governments and other critical agencies. F, we will organize workshops on various aspects of national reputation that will help to educate and raise awareness amongst critical stakeholders. So what are the core values of the Nigeria Reputation Management Group? 1, ethics. 2, professionalism. 3, trust. We want to encourage Nigerians to drive businesses and relationships and leadership based on trust. Number 4, communication. Effective goal-directed communication shall be one of the most essential tools for achieving the goals of the NRMG. Number 5, inclusivity. It's an inclusively driven endeavor. As one, the NRMG will encourage everyone to see Nigeria as their country and be proud of it. And number 6, ownership. Therefore, NRMG will drive accountability, a strong sense of ownership among Nigerians that make our national reputation goal a collective one.
Okay. So now, what is the structure of NRMG? It will be a board appointed. It will be driven by a board appointed by the Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. The chairman of the board must be a fellow of the institute. We'll have standing work groups, but can create ad hoc ones for specific purposes. Each work group will be led by a chair and can incorporate volunteers and members as they deem fit. At the subnational level, the NRMG will work with NIPR chapters to deliver the values embedded in the its mandate. So, the group will run its own affairs, report to the NIPR Governing Council through the president on a quarterly basis. And then the Governing Council has the right to constitute and dissolve the board at its discretion. The group shall have a fully funded and resourced secretariat, and the president has already made a request through the ministers that are present here that we need an operational base to run the NRMG that we shall call the Nigeria Reputation House. The group will have a fully funded resource secretariat with executive directors that must be enterprise and result driven. Now I will share with you the work groups which have been designed to run the Nigeria Reputation Management Group. 1, we have strategy, research, and policy. 2, we have partnerships and linkages. 3, we have programs and events. 4, we have public relations. 5, we have finance. And 6, we have the secretariat. So those are, now what are our sources of funding? 1, grants. We're going to be seeking grants both locally and internationally to fund the workings and the running of the Nigerian Reputation Management Group. We're going to rely on donations from well-meaning organizations and partners and indeed individuals. We are going to seek partnerships, and the partnerships can come either in cash or in kind. We want to thank some of our partners who have already enlisted to work with us, and the president has mentioned their name. And finally, we are going to also run on subscriptions where people will pledge certain amounts of money every year for them to be part of what we are doing. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, this is in a nutshell the format of what we will have as the Nigeria Reputation Management part of what we're doing, and we're going to need the screen to do that. Please, I crave your indulgence. This next part, we need the screen, which is the unveiling of the logo itself. The logo of the Nigeria Reputation Management Group. Apologies for the disruptions that are happening, but we now need the screen. Is back?
It's coming. It's coming. Can I just do some?
Yeah, please. No.
Would like to quickly announce that we should reduce movement across the aisle. Please, would like everyone to please be seated. We mentioned earlier that this event is on live television. So please, we want everyone to please be seated and reduce the movement within the hall, because when you move, your personal reputation is at stake.
Yeah, okay. You do the unveil and then people start moving. Yeah. You understand?
Okay. If you want to give okay.
So conclude your talk. You understand?
No.
This is done now. So what I'll do is I'll change the program now and that's what the address is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Then we'll come back to
No, this is not it. It is the logo unveil. We numbered the videos. Please, where is Ibukun? Ibukun, Onabanjo, please do your work. properly. But I'm advised that what we should do now is that we should take all the addresses and then we will come back to the logo unveil. I will come back to the logo unveil. But please, Iboko, all the videos are well numbered. Please follow what we said. So let me hand over to the master and the madam of ceremony as they change the program to accommodate the hitches we're experiencing.
Thank you very much. Please do give him another round of applause. So clearly he's indicated that we all need to become voices for Nigeria. By the way, the Director General of Voice of Nigeria, Mr. Jubril Babandachi, I'm told he's in the house here. There he is. He's a fellow of the NIPR. Please a round of applause for him. And the former Director General is also here, Mr. Osita Okechukwu, Voice of Nigeria, former Director General. Thank you very much for being here. So right now we all need to become voice of Nigeria and become reputation for Nigeria. Next to speak is our special guest of honor, the man you heard earlier who stood strong for Nigeria along with his colleague ministers when our footballers were treated wrongly. Please welcome, very distinguished, His Excellency Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, OON, Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. A very good afternoon. I think NIPR is being very smart here by sending me out immediately after the glitches started. As the landlord, I'm sure my people have to make sure that nothing happens as I'm speaking. So let me begin by recognizing the distinguished Senator Osita Isunazo. I'm a former parliamentarian, and I know that the representatives of the people come before ministers and everybody else. And then, of course, my dear brother, the Minister of Information, Alhaji Muhammad Idris, former ministers of information, Professor Jerry Gana, my brother Frank Mweke Jr., Alhaji Lai Mohammed, President of the NIPR, Dr. Ike Neliaku, Chairman of the occasion and Chairman of Channels Television, Dr. John Reputation Momo, the NUJ President, Mr. Chris Isuguzo, Director General of NIPR, Mr. Yomi Badejo Okusoya, former President of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Engineer Mansour Ahmed, council members, members of the NYSC, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to address this distinguished gathering on a topic of utmost importance for any country, particularly for a nation as diverse and complex as Nigeria: national reputation management. Let me also express my gratitude to the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations for organizing this event. In our interconnected or globalized world, a country's image is not just shaped by its actions, but by the global perception of those actions. This perception, whether positive or negative, has profound implications not only for our political standing, but also for our economic growth and social cohesion. We live in an era where information travels at an unprecedented speed. A single event, a careless statement, or even a misleading news story can go viral within minutes, spreading across borders and continents. Even when borders were closed at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and people, goods, and services stopped moving, information and ideas continued to traverse the planet. The Black Lives Matter protests ignited across oceans in spite of the physical delinkage or decoupling we had experienced continued, and we had our own variety in the form of EndSARS. This past weekend has been very eventful for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. On Sunday, 13th October, the Nigerian men's football team, the Super Eagles, was stranded in Libya ahead of a planned AFCON qualifier match. On the same day, various media houses reported that Sunday Igboho, a leading figure in the Yoruba secessionist movement, submitted a petition to the UK government. And then, of course, there was the news of Nigeria having lost an election at the United Nations. The only problem was it was an election that Nigeria never even stood for. So how could we lose it? So these issues that were seized upon by some sections of Nigerian media and public drove negative sentiment and were sought to undermine the country's image. Such issues, however, underscore the importance of not just managing our actions as a country, but also managing how those actions are perceived by the rest of the world. It is here that the challenge of fake news comes into sharp focus. False narratives and misinformation have the power to distort facts, shift public opinion, and damage reputations in ways that are difficult to reverse. In a world where anyone with a smartphone can become a content creator, where social media algorithms prioritize engagement over accuracy, and where the 24-hour news cycle thrives on sensationalism, it becomes critical to address and counter these threats to our national reputation. We continue to deal with fake news attacks from outside, seeking to divide our country. Quite often, emotions are taken as evidence of being right. And we have even seen the deployment of the generative adversarial networks, GANs, or deepfakes. The role of social media in shaping perceptions of nations cannot be overstated. Platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok have given ordinary citizens the power to create, share, and consume information at an astonishing pace. While the democratization of information has many benefits, it also comes with significant challenges, particularly when it comes to national reputation management. The 24-hour news cycle has also fundamentally altered the landscape of international diplomacy. Where once there was time for reflection and strategic communication to be plotted, today's fast-paced media environment rewards immediacy. Unfortunately, this means that stories about Nigeria that are often framed through negative stereotypes, reinforcing old perceptions and creating negative ones that are difficult to disabuse, prevail. For Nigeria, this presents a particular challenge. As Africa's most populous and largest economy, Nigeria is often in the global spotlight. Our actions, our successes, and our challenges are scrutinized at every turn. Yet we know that perception often lags behind reality. While Nigeria has made significant strides in areas such as technology, culture, and entrepreneurship, these achievements are not always given the same visibility as stories about corruption, insecurity, or political instability. To address these challenges, Nigeria must embrace a proactive approach to reputation management. This begins with effective communication. We must tell our own story before others tell it for us. And we must ensure that the story we tell is both honest and aspirational. National reputation is not about glossing over challenges or ignoring problems, but about framing those challenges with a broader narrative, within a broader narrative of progress, resilience, and potential. Importantly, our citizens have a key role to play. The image of any nation is not shaped solely by leaders, diplomats, or businesses, but also by the actions, attitudes, and behaviors of its citizens. Nigerians, both at home and in the diaspora, are the primary ambassadors of our national brand. Every interaction, every social media post, and every business transaction contributes to how Nigeria is perceived globally. It is therefore essential that the government, the private sector, civil society, and broader citizenry work together to foster a sense of pride and responsibility among all Nigerians. This approach is a key aspect of the diaspora pillar of the Tinubu doctrine, 4D doctrine of diplomacy. This administration seeks to create an environment where citizens feel empowered to contribute positively to the national image. This can be achieved by ensuring that the government listens to and acts upon the needs and desires of its people. Perception is closely tied to reality, and no amount of communication can compensate for a failure to deliver on the basic needs of the populace. Whether it is in the area of security, health, education, or economic opportunity, the Nigerian government will continue to prioritize policies that improve the quality of life for its citizens. When Nigerians feel heard, valued, and supported, they are more likely to engage constructively and to contribute to a positive national image. This is why it is vital that we continue to pursue reforms that promote good governance, transparency, and accountability, in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 8-point agenda. A government that is responsive to the needs of its people will inevitably enjoy a better reputation both domestically and internationally. In addition to addressing domestic concerns, Nigeria must also actively promote its national interests on the global stage. We must take advantage of platforms such as ECOWAS, the African Union, the United Nations, and the Commonwealth to advocate for policies that align with our values and priorities. By playing a leadership role in regional and international organizations, Nigeria can help shape the global agenda in ways that benefit not only our nation, but the broader African continent. In recent years, Nigeria's soft power has grown significantly, thanks in large part to the global influence of our culture. From Nollywood to Afrobeats, Nigerian creatives are making waves around the world, showcasing the vibrancy and innovation of our people. This cultural diplomacy is a powerful tool in national reputation management, and we must continue to support our creative industries as they expand their reach and influence. However, we cannot rely solely on culture to define our national image. Nigeria is a country that is serious about economic development, social justice, environmental sustainability, regional security, and human rights. To this end, Nigeria will continue to pursue policies that encourage foreign investment, support entrepreneurship, and protect the rights and freedoms of all our citizens. In doing so, we will build a reputation as a country under-celebrated instrument, the Technical Aid Corps. TAC as we call it, has been sending out Nigerian doctors, engineers, and university lecturers as volunteers to African, Caribbean, and Pacific nations, free of charge since 1987. We muster a lot of support on the global stage because of this. Yet Nigerians and many out there are oblivious to this noble cause. As we move forward, let us remember that our national reputation is not just about how others see us, it is about how we see ourselves. By promoting a positive image of Nigeria, by addressing the needs of our people, and by actively engaging with the global community, we can ensure that Nigeria is seen as the dynamic, resilient, and forward-looking nation that it truly is. The challenge that lies ahead is making Nigerians understand that citizenship comes with the responsibility of patriotism. The philosopher Pierre Rosanvallon talks about the high moral calling of the citizen, of citizenship. Yet, patriotism itself has to be reinvented every so often. Our work is cut out for us. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Collective responsibility. That's what the Honorable Minister has broken down when we look into a reputation as a social gain. Another very loud round of applause. We are moving on very, very quickly. The agenda has been tweaked to bring some logistics, a logical sequence, I would say. At this point, being, like the President had said, a son of the soil, if I may use that, considering the NIPR soil, he has been a good ambassador and still is, opening his doors at every time NIPR needs to touch base with him. He believes in what we are doing today, and in fact his office has become the center of activity to ensure that today comes to light. At this moment, Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring to the microphone the chief host, who also is the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Alhaji Muhammad Idris, FNIPR.
Thank you, my sister. When you have the misfortune of talking after very great speakers, one of whom claims that he is still your student, you know that you are in some little bit of trouble. The distinguished chairman of the Senate Capital Market, the distinguished Senator Osita, is now. So I'm happy that my brother, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, reminded me that indeed the representatives of the people come first. Otherwise, when you go to the next budget cycle, you know, when you go to defense, you know who you are. Let me say to distinguished Senator that you have indeed been a very good ambassador of the NIPR. At every event of the NIPR I've attended, the distinguished Senator is always there. In fact, someone asked me whether he is the chairman, Senate Committee on Public Relations. My brother, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Ambassador Yusuf Chuga, very fine gentleman who combines intellect, patriotism, and hard work as our Minister of Foreign Affairs. If you are in doubt, the events of the last 48 hours will surely tell you the kind of proactiveness that is in our new Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The former ministers here, first let me recognize my uncle in two ways. It's my uncle at home and my uncle on this job, Professor Reputation Jerry Ghana. My brother, my friend, Frank Mweke Jr., thank you for your service to the country. Another great elder brother of mine, my immediate predecessor, perhaps the longest serving Minister of Foreign Information in this country, Alhaji Lai Mohammed. Thank you for being here. I will come to, when you see Mr. John Momo, what reminds me is in the 1980s and 90s when we rushed back to our television sets at 9 p.m. And then the voice will roar, I am John Momo. Welcome to the Network News. Good to see you again, and thank you for your reputation and what you are doing to our country, not just in the media industry, the private sector. Your personality speaks for you. Thank you for finding time to come. My president, I don't know who is the teacher here, but when you spoke, everyone knows who the teacher actually is. He is actually PR speaking. Whenever you see Dr. Iken Iliaku, you know that it's really, by the way, one of also the longest serving special assistants to about 4 different ministers of information in this country. Many people tend to forget that. 4 or 5? 6 actually. He was special assistant to 6 former ministers of information in this country. The chairman of the NRMG, Dr. Yomi Badijo, don't mind the gray hair. We were all, our umbilical cords were all cut at the same time for the NRPR. Maybe I will also start growing mine so that I can really rub shoulders with you. But thank you for, he thinks and breathes public relations. He has represented us very well on the global stage. He was Secretary General and President of African Public Relations Association. And he's been on all major public relations events the world over. Thank you for the work you are doing. And I'm glad that the president has refused to allow you to retire. And for as long as I am also here, I will also make sure that the president does not allow you to retire. We will all retire together. My very senior older brother, Dr. Mansour Ahmed, he is actually what reputation should be. Gentle, unassuming, hardworking, focused, very patriotic, and committed to the ideals of this country. Thank you, sir, for coming here. I have the president on the extreme right of the high table, the president of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. Thank you for coming, and thank you for unleashing your people to put us in check when you think that we are going in another direction. Thank you for the work you are doing. The heads of agencies of the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation that are here, I can see the DG Arcon, the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Press Council, the Director General, Voice of Nigeria, MD, News Agency of Nigeria, and many of you. So many people. It's difficult to reel through. Everybody here is important. Our core members for whom we stand here today. And we pray that as we sit here, we will hand over to you, as the President always says, and it's enshrined enshrined in our national anthem. We will hand over to you a banner that is not stained. Thank you for coming here. Let me try to read what I have scribbled. But I thought that everything I wanted to say has actually been said. But as Minister of Information, and even though I have the misfortune of speaking much after most of them, I also have the last word. So this puts me in some great advantage. I'm delighted to welcome all of you to the unveiling of the Nigerian Reputation Management Group, a groundbreaking initiative of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, under the support and supervision of the Ministry of Information and National Orientation. It is aimed, of course, at repositioning and bolstering the brand reputation of Nigeria. Today's event marks a significant step forward in our collective resolve to redefine ourselves as a people and thus enhance our nation's image and reputation on the global stage. The NRMG will play a pivotal role in promoting and changing the global perception of our dear country by showcasing and highlighting our true identity, achievements, strengths, and positives, while also amplifying the voices of our various peoples. To accomplish this, the group will build strategic partnerships and collaborations with stakeholders across various sectors, including government, private sector, civil society, the media, youth organizations within and outside Nigeria. As you are all aware, a country's brand reputation is one of its core assets, alongside its financial and natural mineral resources. However, the intangibility of brand reputation means that it is often not reckoned with or grossly underestimated in the accounting of our country's primary assets. This dismissive mindset is what the NIPR seeks to challenge through the NRMG. There are various initiatives out there that rank countries on the strength of their national brand. One of these is the Nation Brand Index by IPSOS that in 2023 ranked Japan as the most valuable nation brand in the world, upstaging Germany, which has held the position for the preceding 6 years. This is out of course, the list of about 60 countries that have been ranked. I see reinforcing mechanism at play in this issue of national brand reputation. A strong national asset attracts talent, tourists, and investors, and this combination will in turn further strengthen the country, positioning it to attract even more positives. The reverse is also the case. A weak national brand will discourage investment and talent, depriving a country of what it needs for national development, an unfortunate scenario that further weakens perceptions of brand quality. Now, this brings me to especially the way Nigerians talk about their country. On the one hand, we strive for foreign direct investment to come into our land. But on the other, we are very quick to say all those things that will drive away investors and those who want to identify with us. We must find a way of striking a true balance between, especially for the media, reporting accurately, objectively, and also being patriotic about your country. I have always said in every opportunity that I've had that you cannot promote your country by also promoting all the negatives in your country and downplaying the positives. You are also downgrading your country. We all have to come together to project our national image so that at least people will see the good in all of us. The renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is taking the lead in this regard. Now, I listened very careful to the chairman of channels and the chairman of this occasion, Mr. John Momo, who has said that it is important for all Nigerians, especially those in positions of political authority, to ensure that they represent their people well and be less selfish about their endeavors. Now, the president has always said this, and the reform that the president is doing is a very challenging. I'm happy that Mr. John Momo also mentioned it, that the task is actually a daunting one. And it didn't just start today. The road didn't start today. Of course, it is because of that road that Nigerians have elected President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to clean the table. And this he is doing with every sense of patriotism. Because things are so bad, it is difficult sometimes to see some of the positives. But I want you to cast your mind back to a lot of positives that this administration has achieved. The local government autonomy, which was done without any strike or any form of strife. The minimum wage, the consumer credit scheme, the students' loan board, investment in the agricultural sector, the kind of effort that is being done in security, and the response to major national issues. Here, the president of the NIPR talked about the response of the combination of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Sports in the last 48 hours to ensure that Nigeria stands tall on the global stage. I think these are some of the initiatives that we all have to applaud. It is not all about bad news in this country. I believe that we are going to turn the corner. We're already beginning to see signs of that. Reforms all over the world are extremely challenging. It is your ability to rise up to the occasion that marks the difference. I think the president is doing that with every sense of responsibility. I call on all Nigerians to support him and give him more time. Nigeria will reach its desired destination. You can understand, therefore, my delight that the NIPR has emerged as a worthy and committed partner to this all-important cause. I very much look forward to the exploits that we will together do to achieve a good brand reputation for Nigeria. Now, in my own agenda, as the Minister of Information and National Orientation, I want to emphasize on the third pillar of the 5 key pillars that I have set out to do, and that is the reorientation of our national values. It is not just by chance that the president rechristened the Ministry of Information and Culture and named it Ministry of Information and National Orientation. The emphasis there is to reclaim our lost values, and the gradual erosion of those values that we have seen over the years is being stemmed. Therefore, charity, they say, begins at home. All of us at the Ministry of Information and National Orientation as agencies, especially the National Orientation Agency, is playing a pivotal role in ensuring that Nigeria reclaims its steps. Nigeria comes back to those ideals for which our founding fathers put on course for this country. I commend the efforts of the NOA in leading this charge in national reorientation of our national value system through efforts like the development of the National Values Charter and the repositioning of our national symbols like the anthem and the flag. I'm happy that today I've seen a correction in the way we recite and render our national anthem. And let me say here again that our national anthem is only the first stanza that should be read at events like this. It is only at very major national events like the Independence Day or where the president appears that you read all through the 3 stanzas. Of course, the last stanza has been approved by the Federal Executive Council as the national prayer. I'm glad that we have taken note of that and we are also following that direction. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the journey of 1,000 miles, they say, begin with a simple step. We will not be deterred by the distracting noises of cynics and naysayers. And now, I'm not referring to critics here. I'm talking about cynics and naysayers. Criticism, especially constructive criticism that is aimed at putting the government back on its toes, is always welcome. On this note, let me again commend the NIPR for this laudable move and pledge the full and unalloyed support of the federal government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration towards ensuring the success and that it all deserves. Thank you very much for your attention. My sister.
Thank you very much, the Chief Host, Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation. I think he's bold enough to say that criticisms will be welcomed, those that will accelerate development and cohesion. Please, let's give him another loud round of applause. We are now getting there, slowly, steadily. I'd like to invite YBO to the microphone, please. By the way, we call him YBO.
Thank you, Auntie Moji. For reason of time, I'm going to try and make this very speedy. We are coming to a high point of it because the identity is very important. So that from here on, when you see or when you come across this identity, you know what it represents. And since we say what we're doing today all of us have to take ownership of it in one way or the other, you also need to be in this identity. So let me ask, we are now going to do the identity unveil. Honorable ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invite you to please watch your screens. And this is the identity of the Nigeria Reputation Management Group. This is a symbol of reputation going forward in Nigeria. Please roll tape.
The logo reputation hexagon incorporates our 6 core values of ethics, professionalism, trust, communication, inclusivity, and ownership.
Nigeria Reputation Management Group. Reputation first.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our slogan, some people call it a tagline, we call it our battle cry, and that is reputation first. Honorable ministers, please take the message humbly to Mr. President, reputation first. Our dear distinguished senator, please take the message back to the National Assembly. Reputation first. All Mr. John Reputation Momo. When you are now announced, what will follow your name will be reputation first. And each and every one of us, it must be reputation first. When you're driving and you are tempted to break that traffic light, think again and ask, am I taking reputation first? When you jump the queue, is reputation first. If you want to go into some business that doesn't look so good, think about reputation. Because from now on, the battle cry is what? I'm not sure you're doing. Let's do it again. The battle cry is what? Please, once again, the battle cry is... Thank you. We're now going to quickly, let me just give you rationale for the logo, how we arrived at this, and then we're quickly just going to then hand over to the... All right. Are we on? Just give me, I will run through this 2 minutes. It's very... Why? What are we offering? Yeah, please just go quickly, run through it. First, what are we offering? It's a corporate identity that symbolizes the great potential of our country. It's a symbol of a fertile land, abundant resources, and a nature-favored people. Next, the logo depicts the following: hope, value creation, abundant resources, growth, stability, trust, national spirit, success, potentials, and of course, resilience. Go on. Now, let's talk about the logo very quickly. What went into it? Next slide, please. We've talked about this. It's called a reputation hexagon. A hexagon is an object with 6 sides. And I mentioned this earlier. The 6 sides are made up of ethics, professionalism, trust, communication, inclusivity, and ownership. Next one. And then it shows you all the color references, the font size. We'll be sharing this with you. Please, can you bring out the document? We have a document. Can the usher start sharing the document? The brochure for the NRMG. Please start sharing the document immediately. Yes, this is, it will tell you all about what it is. Please go back to the slide quickly. Please go back. Go on. So all the color references, what they represent, and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. And then this is what you have here. Next slide. This is how the logo, the placement, and the colors should be, whether it's on green, it's on black, it's on white, or it's on gray. The predominant colors are gray and then the white background. But we have also thought of other ways you can use the logo. Next slide, please. And then the application of the logo, the ways you can use the logo, and the ways you cannot use the logo. Next slide, please. Those are some of the merchandising materials that you'll be seeing as we go along. Next slide, please. Next slide. Some of these things that you'll be. Thank you very much. My name is Yomi Badijo Okusoya, and I'm boldly public relations. Thank you.
Thank you. We are moving on. You have the logo, you know what it stands for, and in the true spirit of what we are doing today, at the beginning this morning, when the corpus came in, I just said, let's have a representation. I wanted volunteers. And within and in the twinkle of an eye, these coppers and Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, volunteered and came carrying things on their head and all that. And this is the new spirit that NIPR and indeed what we are doing today is bringing to focus.
Sorry,
yes.
Can I request, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. In the spirit of time, we have the formal request that we are making to the Honorable Minister or to Mr. President through the office of the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation. It is my pleasure to hand this over to our President, who will then hand it over to the Minister. I am going to crave your indulgence, Mr. President. This is too heavy to be received by one minister. I'm going to suggest, because when it comes to the council, the Federal Executive Council, we need another ally there. So I'm going to ask that you please give it to both ministers.
Let me shift the seat for you.
Okay. Yes. This is the request we are making formally, and 3 major things. For one, we need October 15 every year to be designated and declared as the National Reputation Day. Number 2, Nigeria, I beg your pardon, sorry. Nigeria Reputation Day. And Honorable Minister, will need you also, because this will be celebrated not in Nigeria, only in Nigeria, but in diaspora. So all the missions and all the embassies will be part of it. Number two, we need a very befitting place to run this, which will be called the Nigeria Reputation House. And then number three, I don't know how to say this in Ego Ofetuto.
You can say it in Yoruba.
Better soup. We are going to make a request to you, sir, through your office, that an annual grant be given to the Nigeria Reputation Management Group to help it run its affairs. Those are the three requests we have there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think thank you, sir. What YB also wanted to add, Honorable Minister, is that it is envisaged that the Nigeria Reputation Management Group will be a strategic partner to Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, the same way the Nigeria Economic Summit Group is a strategic partner to Ministry of Budget and National Development. National Planning. So you are in order. Thank you. Honorable Minister.
Well, thank you, Dr. Yomi Badejo Kusaya and the President of NIPR. On behalf of my colleague here and all those seated on the high table, this, by God's grace, will get to Mr. President, and he will take an informed position on the matter and will revert as quickly as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So we're going to take the goodwill messages very quickly. Okay. We'll have goodwill messages from the President's Institute of Public Relations, Ghana. These messages also come as endorsements. We also have the President's Zambia Institute